In the next 12 months, I want to see you succeed and get massive amounts of funding. It could change your life. It could change your life. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Again, if you have a property and you're trying to sell it right now, it's not selling. Let's see if you can get creative with it.
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott, and Today is the day. Today is the day we talk about the crazy market we're in right now. So if you have a property, this is specifically I'm talking to you. If you have a property that is sitting on the market right now, I'm talking to you. For the simple fact that I've actually had several friends recently, people that I'm coaching, people at church, people just friends of mine, close friends that are looking to sell their properties, and they have equity in them. They want to level up. They want to go into, usually it's another upgraded property and so forth, which is great. But I want to just chat about, the market in general and some alternatives, because right now, statistically, it is not the time. It's not the time to be selling right now. And it depends, obviously, keep all this with context, depends on where you live nationwide. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, back in November, Jen and I were looking to sell one of our properties that we had listed, and we believed that it was listed at a fair price, at a fair investment for somebody to buy, and nobody was biting for a month and a half, 2 months almost, I believe. And then we decided, all right, well, luckily we bought it with so much value in it that we just went to keep it and appraise it for a refinance. And so we did that, and it actually appraised a couple $100,000 more than what we were actually selling it for. We listed it at, I think, 2.1 initially, and then we brought it all the way down to like 1.85, I believe, and it still wasn't selling. And then we went to refinance it, and it appraised at 2.5. That's a big difference, a big, big difference. And so I can talk from this because firsthand experienced this. And this was 7-8 months ago, right? At this point in this season, I don't necessarily believe that it has gotten better. And obviously during the holidays and during, winter months, it's not necessarily the season to be selling, but people should always be buying. People are still looking in certain cases. And price point is one aspect. Location is definitely an aspect behind it. And then the product that you're obviously promoting is a huge piece of it as well. But statistically, it's showing right now that over 70% of Americans nationwide are waiting for interest rates to come down. Okay. That's the season that we are in right now. The inflation, the tariffs, the just overall expenses, the kind of chaos in today's day and age, the market, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty, and there is a lot of just hurt overall. Financially, a lot of individuals nationwide aren't doing as great as they were years and years ago. We rode this bubble, this wave, just going up, inflation, just craziness of just keep going up. And everybody's, during COVID, we hit 36 or 37 time record for just keep going up. It's like, how many times, like it's nonsense. It's unheard of. It's crazy chaos. And so there has to be a correction and a landing at some point. Okay. Depends on how heavy that landing is. And I think it's softer than it could have been and should have been, but we're still not there yet. And so the turbulence just going through all of that is surreal. It's imperative for us. Like, we have to go through this, but regardless, I think President Trump is doing the absolute best that he can with what he was dealt, and I think he's doing a phenomenal job personally. Overall, though, there is still so many Americans The Fed with their interest rates, they're just not budging on it, keeping it high over pet peeves almost, against President Trump. However, eventually it has to come down. Interest rates have to come down. And I believe a lot of Americans acknowledge that and realize that and believe, that a lot of us got spoiled for a very long time with interest rates being extremely low. Extremely low. So they got spoiled with that. So even if you give them a 5, 6, 7 interest, rate percentage, they're looking at it like that's nonsense. That's crazy. When factually in the past, in the 90s and so forth, it was up to almost 20%. It's crazy to see the entitlement that, our generations have gone through by not experiencing those things firsthand, but seeing what they have experienced. That's all they know, so therefore they expect 3 and 4% interest rates. Now, with that being said, a lot of, the U.S., I believe, is anticipating and waiting on those interest rates to drop, and they're just not dropping. They're not dropping as quick as we need or quick at all. And so that means that 70% plus of the U.S. is just on the sidelines waiting for that day for these interest rates to drop. What will take place? What will take place when those rates drop? And they will drop sometime in the future, I believe. When they drop, it is going to be a frenzy. There's going to be all those Americans that are jumping in at that point, right? That are jumping in when the rates are better and they can afford more. And ideally, their businesses and other things are starting to flourish, right? When interest rates drop, more people are spending. More people are buying, right? And so when those rates drop, the majority of Americans that are just sitting on the sidelines, they will jump in. The good and bad news behind that is at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of competition jumping on then. And then it's going to be a bidding war. And these numbers for these properties are just going to go up and up and up and up like crazy, I believe. And so the good part of that right now is there's no competition. There's no competition if you're buying. And there will always be the day-to-day difficulties and one reason or another, individuals having to sell, right? And so because of that, it's a great buying opportunity. It's a great buying opportunity because you can find true distressed sellers that need to and potentially have some good equity in there that you can actually capitalize off of and give more lowball offers, get them out of their situation because something has to give. Less people are on it. It's probably been sitting a while and you can capitalize off of it. Even with the rates high right now, if it still makes sense and it cash flows today, then it's going to be even better if you can hang on to it for a year or two or whenever the interest rates go lower. And then you refinance, you get even more money out. The price of the property starts going up even higher. Like there's tremendous blessings when you actually own the property. Now, if you are selling a property, maybe you're an investor and you just have numerous properties you're looking to sell. It's a tough season for that, my friend. Or if you're just a homeowner and you're looking to level up, you're looking to buy in a different location, it's a tough market to sell in, my friend. At the end of the day, it's things just aren't selling like they were. It's less buyers. The prices are high. Many people can't afford it. Less people are looking. If they can't afford it, less people are looking. It's kind of like a needle in a haystack looking for that right person. And you can pray into it. And I pray that you have God's favor if that is your only option. But I want to try to bring hope here and some opportunity to individuals that don't necessarily know that there may be other options, right? If you have your own primary and you are interested in capitalizing and upgrading and buying another property to move into, but you can't afford both, right? Then there may be benefits. There may be benefits to renting out your property, right? There may be benefits to renting out your property. And even if you just break even, I never recommend just breaking even. I want you to cash flow, right? But say you can't. Write it out and see if it makes sense. If you had to cover the, breaking even and the things that you don't know, things that are out of your control, the miscellaneous, the vacancies, the capital expenditures, the water tank blowing, like whatever it may be. Somebody trashes the property. Obviously, do your best to do your due diligence on individuals, but if you can rent it out to a good qualified tenant, even if you break even or write it even in the books of like, what if you're actually losing money? Would it be better if it's just a little bit over a period of time? Would it outweigh the potential blessings that could be just right around the corner, like 3 feet from gold type of thing? Like if you still owned it in a year, 2 or 3, and the interest rates come down, you could either refi or you could sell at that point when more people are just jumping in there if you really want to sell, and that appreciation is just skyrocketing. Can you imagine what that could do for you? Like how much more would that set you up if you hung on to it? And obviously everybody can't hang on to everything, and you might not be able to rent it out in your area or the type of quality of home it is. I don't know. But if you have equity in it as well, could you potentially do a HELOC, right? Could you do a HELOC? Because keep in mind, there's plenty of lenders out there right now that because the market is slow, same thing with agents, real estate agents, brokers, because the market is slow, you have more time with them. They're more willing to get creative and try to figure out something to make it work, right? That's in your favor as well. So take this season right now to get creative a little bit, try to keep as much of these properties as you can. And, you can bully people on prices. You can, if you're trying to buy, if you're trying to sell, you're going to have to get creative because it's not going to sell. It's not going to sell for what you want. It's going to take a long, long time from what we're seeing. So can you do something different, such as keep the property? Could you do Airbnb, potentially? Could you, and do your due diligence on that, because some of our Airbnbs aren't panning out right now, so you may want to consider long-term rentals. You may want to consider, even if I take a loss of just $100,000 a month or whatever, I don't know. Like, will you be able to cover it? Can you afford it versus taking a huge loss that you are potentially now? Or like, if it cost you X amount over 1 to 2 years and you're projecting that interest rates will come low and you can refinance and potentially get all your money back there, or interest rates will come low and then the appreciation will go up crazy and you can make money off that when you go to sell it, or get a HELOC then. Or if the interest rates don't go low, do you still believe, say worst case scenario, interest rates keep going high, do you still believe that equity will go up? Like, do you believe there could be a creative way that you could actually capitalize off keeping the property and still go after your goals and dreams? I recommend everybody go for, if you're selling and you're looking to, as a primary, and you're looking to upgrade, like that should be your only move, as long as you can afford it. If you're already in a property right now and you just can't afford it whatsoever, the business is struggling, and there's no shame in the game. There's plenty of businesses out there that have been struggling, especially the last year and a half. But does it, if you are struggling and you can't afford the stuff that you are paying for right now, it would make sense to downgrade, and maybe you're just trying to get out of it so that you can go back to renting. I don't necessarily recommend that, but if you needed to start fresh, or if you needed to, you have equity in it and you're just looking to get cashed out so that you're prepared, you're free to take advantage of opportunities coming up, I just encourage you to stay on the pivot. Like, be very aware of that and be ready. Otherwise, do your best to hang on to these properties. I do believe that one of the biggest mistakes real estate investors make, and even if you're not a full-time, full-blown real estate investor, or at least you don't consider yourself that because you just own a primary, which I would agree you're not. However, it can turn into an investment if you decide to hang on to it. And even if it's not making you money now, like, you're betting that it's going to go up over time, that you're going to get benefits behind it. And so if you're getting into another property but you're hanging on to this one. I do believe there's going to be favor in those individuals that are hanging on and keeping these properties. Okay, so whether you got to do long-term rentals, short-term rentals, whether it's HELOCs, whether it is getting creative on the selling in some way, I just encourage, like, try to hang on to these properties if you can, because I do believe that there's going to be a time, a season, and a place where interest rates in the next few years will come down. They have to. And it will be a buying frenzy. It will be, the rest of America is going to be jumping in and it's going to just force these prices to go even higher and higher. And it's a great opportunity for you to capitalize off of. It's going to be a great exchange of wealth. And right now is a great opportunity to get very creative. And like, as a buyer, you can get creative because there's always going to be people that are going through some real life struggles, that are moving for a job, or moving from a death in the family, moving from a divorce, or just struggles that people have to sell. And so, being that 70% of America is on the sidelines, agents are available. They're willing to get creative and savvy. Brokers and lenders are available. They're willing to get creative and savvy. There's opportunities for you. If you are in the owner's position, you can, and you have equity, you can take out HELOCs, you can get creative with this. You can buy these properties and hang on to them, because I believe it's going to bless you in the future. Now, I recently, and you guys know some of my stories, some of my journey, the last 6 months, I've been selling all my properties over in Ohio. Now, I know that sounds opposite of what I'm telling you right now. Every market is different. The Ohio market, while there has been some appreciation, it hasn't been a boatload in this particular small little area that I've invested in the past. However, do I still believe that it will go up more? I do, because I believe it's going to be a nationwide thing once interest rates come down. However, there's peace of mind and time that's being taken that isn't worth it to me. And so removing distractions, focusing all eyes and all attention, all ears on things that do make sense, instead of getting distracted 4 or 5, 10 hours a month, don't need that. I'd rather line up here. So getting rid of those so that I can dial in, this is much more important to me. And I believe that the fruit from it will be very lucrative, versus hanging on to it and having that distraction longer. It's delaying the inevitable. And it's one of those things, like, all the money in the world wouldn't change my decision on that, right? It still takes away time from the big mission that I'm on with Credit Counsel Elite, inspiring and impacting other business owners to be able to get this type of capital. I rather focus on that and my real estate out here in San Diego. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to be controversial or like two-sided here. I want to explain that, there are alternative ways. If you have a property right now and it's just been a struggle, it's been a season of like, what the heck, man, I really want to sell this, but it's just not selling. And even with us, when we bought this property at the end of December, it was definitely a God story for sure, but it was on the market for 6 months on and off from just a bad seller, I believe, and potentially a bad agent. I don't know, but it was just issues, right? It was the only one in this area, by the way. Definitely a God story, because the longest other properties, it was 20 days. This one was like 160, 180 days, something like that. It's like big difference. And so, but a lot of the other properties were, the fastest ones were 2-3 days. A majority were like 7 to 10 days. That it's just different, right? Especially in a classy, nicer area. So I do believe, though, there's more properties, because I'm running into it. I'm seeing it. I hear my friends, unfortunately, ones that like they want to level up and get to the next property, get into better locations. But it's difficult. And a lot of these guys have equity. So that's why I'm making this video, to explain you could potentially be in the same spot. And I believe majority probably are. You have equity. You're not in a huge pinch. You just don't know any other way. So that's why I encourage you, get creative. Even look it up on ChatGPT. Here's my circumstances. What other options are there? What else can I do to be able to hit these goals? Help me get inspired here to figure out other alternatives, right? I think the greatest opportunity is right in front of us to be able to buy, to be able to, when rates come down, to refinance, to be able to lock in things. If you can make money now on certain deals, the greatest opportunity is in front of you. The biggest time of transferring wealth is taking place right now. And look, if you are looking for more capital to be able to get prepared and really positioned for it, you don't necessarily need to sell the home. You don't need to liquidate all the assets. You can literally get massive amounts of funding from banks. And we have a list of 9,500 of them, state by state, broken down from top to bottom, which ones are giving out the most funding. Okay? It's a list of 9,500 of those banks. We have 45 different metrics, proven metrics that are broken down step by step on how these banks and lenders are judging you, how to play the game. It's not just about your FICO score. It's not just about your bank relationship. It's not just about who you're connected with and what you're saying on these applications. There's a whole list of 45 different metrics and what you're applying for and what order and how to actually, position yourself the proper way. And most people I would say 99% of people simply do not know it. Okay. And that's why my mission here is to show you, the busy entrepreneur, the business owner, the friends, the family, the power couple, the individual that is tired of getting denied from banks or having high utilization or having high interest rates. Like, you want the most favorable terms and conditions and get massive amounts of funding with confidence and boldness, then check out creditcounselelite.com. That's creditcounselelite.com. We have a free training going on this coming week that you're not going to want to miss. It shows you how to get massive amounts of funding with confidence and boldness, getting up to $500,000 with interest rates as low as 0%. Can you imagine what that can do for you for a second? If you just sit back and sit with that just for a moment. If you had the confidence and boldness, like you were just good, you weren't worried about money because you knew how to get money and get the most favorable terms and conditions, 3 to 500K, like $500,000 at 0%. What would you do with that? We have opportunities for you to invest in either real estate, in life insurance, in different avenues, like many different. We have over 350 members in our group right now. We've helped out over 3,700 members since 2017. I've been messing around with credit since 2011. I started doing real estate in 2015. We've helped out a lot of people, but can you imagine what, like, when you get that funding, you put it to work, you take advantage of these opportunities coming up, and then 12 months down the road, how life would be different. Can you imagine that? I don't want you to be living with regret, with fear, with anxiety, with stress, with raising money from friends, family, and struggling to pay them back, losing sleep over money that you borrowed from grandma or Uncle Joe, and, that was his retirement money. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't, face him at Thanksgiving or Christmas. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not worth it. That's not needed. We could show you how to get massive amounts of funding from these banks. They're giving it out. You just need to learn how to talk to them. The banks have to lend to you because that's the business that they're in. They're just looking for low risk. So we can show you how to do it no matter where you're currently at, no matter what your relationships look like. We can show you the techniques and strategies. Okay. So I hope that resonates. If you're looking for massive amounts of funding, go to Credit Counsel Elite right now. That's creditcounselelite.com. Check it out. We have amazing trainings coming up you're not going to want to miss. And we have a 3-day virtual event coming up that we are giving tickets to. If you're serious behind it, there is an investment to be a part of that. So check that out. Otherwise, feel free to check us out on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram. Feel free to DM me. I'd like to get back to everybody personally and say what's up. And if you have questions on any of this, whether it's the 3-day virtual event, whether it's the free webinar coming up, whether it's having a conversation about where you're currently at and where you're looking to go, in the next 12 months, I want to see you succeed and get massive amounts of funding. It could change your life. It could change your life. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Again, if you have a property and you're trying to sell it right now, it's not selling. Let's see if you can get creative with it so that you're not losing out on the biggest opportunity of probably our whole entire life right now. That's the season we're in right now. So hang on to it. You're 3 feet from gold. There's other opportunities, ways that you can get creative and still own this, where it's going to skyrocket your business in the near future. Love you guys all so much. Pray this was very impactful today, and we will catch you on the next episode next week. If you have not already subscribed to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, you're messing up. You're messing up. I'm telling you, do that right now, first and foremost. Again, share this out to somebody that needs to see it. Follow us so that you can get the updates. Subscribe. You get the newest notification every Monday. Leave a 5-star review after listening to a few episodes. Share the love, and greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys. Oh, and everyone out there, all the fathers out there, I probably should have said this in the very beginning, but just celebrating Father's Day the past weekend. I just want to say love you guys all so much for all the amazing fathers out there. If Father's Day is tough for you because, during your childhood, going through dealing with your father who's difficult or wasn't present, wasn't there, if you get stirred up emotionally, frustrated, upset, I understand, I resonate, but don't let the enemy come in to steal, kill, and destroy your future, right? Let that stuff go. Forgive and understand that fatherhood isn't easy. Fatherhood isn't natural for guys, and what they were shown, when they were kids from their fathers, it's different generations, and it was very difficult. And again, I've never met any father that didn't love their kids. Never. Whether they were there in their lives or not, I've never met anybody that was maliciously just mean and absolutely hated their child, right? Outside of horrible evil, right? It's never the circumstance. Whether or not they knew how to show affection or not is something, a different topic. But again, what they were shown is it wasn't necessarily potentially good love either. So with that being said, I hope that softens your heart, and you ask the Holy Spirit to really come into your life, protect you, and soften your heart around that circumstance if you are affected in any form or fashion. Otherwise, enjoy your Father's Day. Enjoy it. Love your father. Love upon him. If somebody was a, mentor to you, a male, figure, a stepfather, father-in-law, just bless them, love them, and show them the honor that they deserve on this day, okay? Love you guys all so much. God bless you. We'll catch you on the next one. See ya.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.